Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to be reviewing Conduct Future Soldier Orientation. This is one of the events that's usually conducted with the telephone call and the Army interview. All right. Like all the events, knowing the rubric is going to be essential to passing this event. So knowing all the steps that are required and making sure that you hit all of them. So there's two parts to this one. You'll have 60 minutes to complete all these steps. First parts will be conducted before the actual Future Soldier orientation, and then the second part will be conducted with the Future Soldier during the Future Soldier orientation. So first three steps will be conducted to set up the Future Soldier orientation, and then the rest of the steps will be conducted actually during the Future Soldier orientation. Supporting references are UR 601-210, UTC 5-03.5, and the STP is where we get all the steps for the Master Recruiter Badge tasks. All right, here's the action condition standards right out of the Master Recruiter Badge handbook. These are the standards. I'm trying to get some clarification on some of these steps. So if you notice there's any discrepancies in here, give me a heads up and I will try to get you some clarification on too. So some of the things I noticed where I'm looking for some clarification on are the number of steps. So I noticed a little discrepancy there. So I reached out to the team up there at G3, so I am looking to get some clarification on the number of steps listed within the rubric and on the standards here. So when I get an answer for that, I will make sure I update the slides, and when we go over this again in a couple of weeks, I will put out an update as well. So again, there's two parts to this event. The first part will be the schedule of Future Soldier orientation within 3 to 10 days after the enlistment. In the past 2 times, it's been a phone call to the Future Soldier to make sure that they're aware that they need to be there within 3 to 10 days after the enlistment. They'll identify all individuals that will be in attendance, attempt to gather blueprint information on the influencers. That's very important. And then inform the Future Soldier of the responsibility to bring their Future Soldier kit that they will get the MEPS on the day of enlistment, their enlistment contract, and a list of questions. So they'll be asked there, and then there will be something that you ask once the Future Soldier gets to the recruit station as well. So one of the nice things about this event, as opposed to some of the other events, is this is an interactive event, and you get to use the Future Soldier orientation website. So know how to log into this website. Get onto as much as you can. If you're within a recruit station, as always, make sure you're doing the Future Soldier orientation with the Future Soldier there. That's kind of the best way to get the hands-on practice with this. If you're not within the recruit station, if you're in operations, MEPS, do your best to kind of get into the recruiter station and get the practice with a recruiter filling this stuff out. The smart, if you've noticed, the smart.go Army referral has been removed from the rubric, thank gosh, because that was a broken link and a topic of contention in previous Master Recruiter Badge years. So it's not part of the Master Recruiter Badge this time. A lot of this will be simulated since you're not going to be actually able to enroll a Future Soldier into the Future Soldier training program without actually having someone enrolled into the database there. So if you can demonstrate you know how to do a lot of this stuff, you'll be good to go there. Ask for all the documents you need ahead of time from the grader to include near-term training plan, RPI 200, DD Form 2983. You want to try and get all that stuff from the grader. And ask for everything. Ask for annexes, or the contract. You never know what they have there that will make it a little bit easier to actually conduct the future soldier orientation. All right, and make sure you're supervising the future soldier as they're going through a lot of stuff. Don't assume that anybody knows anything. Again, you need to demonstrate that you know how to walk the future soldier through this. So again, when we're looking at the rubric, if you have the rubric in front of you as you're going through this, you're just going to work your way straight from the top to the bottom. It should be kind of intuitive because you will be here on the website, and the first thing is going to be first is review the future soldier welcome kit and conduct the future soldier orientation using the website here. So to find the future soldier orientation, you will click on this link right here, and it will bring you right to the future soldier orientation website. One of the things you may notice about the future soldier orientation website is that it actually helps to build the rubric. So if you look, review number 1 or number 2 alpha of the rubric here is review of the Future Soldier Welcome Kit RPI 200. Guess what? That's A, review the Future Soldier Welcome Kit RPI 200. So if you just go straight down the orientation website, you'll be knocking out the individual events that are required to get a go for this event. So again, you're just using this website as a guide on how to get a go at this event. So you don't want to rely on this too much. You want to still know the rubric because there are some things that are lacking. Or if you don't explain it properly enough, the graders can gig you on that as you didn't explain it, and you will be trying to rebut that you did explain it to the satisfaction of the applicant or to your knowledge. So make sure you're going over that. All right, so we're going to go write down this checklist here. Number 1 is going to be to review the RPI 200. If you're not familiar with it, this is what it kind of looks like right now. Sometimes they'll have a backpack. Sometimes when you do the future soldier orientation, sometimes they'll have the backpack. Sometimes it'll just be the booklet. But this is what it's going to look like. Maybe they'll have the PT booklet and the bumper stickers. But this is what the magazine looks like, the RPI 200. T-shirts, polo shirts. So this is what will be standard amongst all of them. At least they'll have this magazine going over that. So you're going to want to review this with them, make sure that they understand what this is. If they have any questions about it, answer any questions that they may have about the RPI 200. Last year we went over a reserve contract. All right, so this was an example of one of the reserve contracts. There's a couple different ones out there, so this is one of them. So review this. If you haven't seen a reserve contract, this is what they look like. A little bit different than the active duty contract. When you look at the enlistment dates, they will not be the dates that they go on to active duty. They'll be the day they actually signed the contract. So that could be confusing when you're trying to check off all these different blocks here. So reviewing the DD Form 4 is not going to automatically check off the block where you review the active duty date. You might have to go through that. So make sure when you're reviewing the DD Form 4, you just answer any questions they have about it, read through all of it, make sure they understand their pay grades, how long they signed up for, make sure all their information is correct, if there's any issues with it. A lot of it's self-explanatory. And then this will actually have where their active duty date is on their request reservation. Going on to active duty, June 14th. Base train starts. Week after. Reserve units at Fort Bragg. Big trains at Fort Jackson. AIT Fort Gordon, 25 uniform. And then you have to review all the annexes in their entirety. So for reserve annexes, you're gonna have a lot of annexes here. You're gonna have annexes, their main Annex A, which goes over all the instructions about prohibited activities, satisfactory, unsatisfactory participation, all that good stuff. And then you're going to go over their pays. Going over pays is another part of the score sheet that you will have to review. That's another graded part of the rubric. So knowing who their pays partner is, knowing the contact information, make sure you go over all the information. The grader may be looking for something specific that you go over, phone number, name, something. So make sure you are reviewing the entirety of the pays partner. Make sure you're reviewing the entirety of those annexes. If the grader is looking for a keyword, something specific, and you don't hit it, it will be a no-go for the event. Selective Reserve Montgomery GI Bill Annex. And this is something that's different for active duty and reserve. Active duty does not have a separate annex for the Montgomery GI Bill benefits. That's part of the active duty annex. For reserves, it's its own annex. All right, so once you've reviewed all the annexes and you've reviewed the pays annex, explain to it, ensure that they understand the benefits of the program, you are going to move on to the 2983. All right, you're going to go over this with them. You're going to review every section, make sure they fill it out. It may be simulated fill out. They may have enough for everyone to actually fill out. It's going to depend on a lot of different things. If there's 100 people like there was the year that I went, they may not want 100 people filling out 2983s. So they might have you simulate it. It will be totally up to the year and how they're running the Master Recruiter Badge event. So make sure you understand where the initials go, where they don't go, violations, how exceptions go, if there has to be an exception, and then who would approve any type of exception. So make sure you review this with the applicant, go over this if they ask any questions, make sure you're able to answer them. Moving right along. Next, after you review the 2983, you're going to be moving on to enrolling the applicant into the GoArmy.com website, which is, for this purpose, going to be the Future Soldier Training Program. So know how to do that. It's right here. You only have an hour. It seems like a lot of time for this, but if you're on here trying to figure out how to enroll them into the program, it could eat up some valuable time. Click there. You can also click the top where it says register up here. So once you get them registered, you're also going to have them enter into the Future Soldier Training Program. And again, a lot of this is going to be simulated. You have to explain how the Future Soldier Training Program works, what they need to do, and why it's important, because that is going to work into 2 kilo. Sorry, not 2 kilo, but 2 hotel when we talk about how to get promoted. So understand the Future Soldier Training Program and understand how every way that the Future Soldier is going to be able to get promoted. And another way to lock into the Future Soldier Training Program. All right, concurrent admissions. All right, again, there's another thing that you have to be able to explain. So here's the explanation for it. Concurrent admissions is a partnership between Army Recruiting Command over 1,900 state colleges. So make sure you're able to explain that to the future soldier and then know how to log into it. Again, nothing you may have to simulate. All right, knowing every way that a future soldier can be promoted. This can be a little bit tricky. So you have to be able to discuss every opportunity for advanced rank while in the Future Soldier Training Program. There's not a ton of them, but you need to be able to discuss every opportunity that's highlighted, that wasn't highlighted last year. So it is something that I'm that the graders are going to be specifically looking for. OPAT, being able to discuss the requirements to complete an OPAT. So know the OPAT, know when it needs to be completed, whether it needs to be completed within 90 days of shipping or just every 90 days. I mean, that's one of those is right. So it says right here, 90 days of shipping to training. I know what their MOS requires. So if they're 25 uniform, they require a moderate OPAT. Know what happens if they're unprepared. And these are all things that the future soldier could ask during the future soldier orientation. Know if they're shipped